Hi everyone, welcome back to Anime Real Talk, where we share our honest opinion on, you guessed it, anime, Japan, news, and much more. It doesn't matter if you are an anime fan, a casual, or a complete weeb. Join the conversation here. I'm Russ as your host, and I'm joined by...
Talha?
And ramen.
How are you guys doing today?
Yeah, I'm good.
Not bad. It's been a quiet, chill week.
Yeah, weather's been alright.
Well, it's not been too bad, yeah.
Did you watch the Adesanya versus Costa UFC match?
No, I didn't.
Okay, that was basically like a middleweight fight that was on Saturday.
Yeah.
And the cool thing was like they're both undefeated.
Mm.
And the champion was Israel Adesanya,
Yeah.
and he watches anime.
Oh, I've seen a picture of him. He wears an Akatsuki jacket, right?
Yeah. It was like in the I think the press release beforehand or something.
He was wearing an Akatsuki
and
jacket.
someone actually asked him like, "Oh, why are you wearing a Akatsuki shirt?" And his reply was, "I'm feeling dark for this fight or something."
Yeah.
So it's pretty funny.
Yeah.
And then apparently he wants to start an anime production studio after he retires.
Yeah,
Well,
so I know
draws?
of him, but I didn't watch the fight.
But does he draw and stuff? Or
No, I
Like
think
what?
he's just always had like an influence from anime.
Right,
So he
right.
even has like an earring and like the shirt that he wears, and he always draws himself like his inspiration from anime. And his nickname is the
I feel
Style
like I've
Bender.
seen.
Yeah, the Style Bender,
I feel like
yeah.
I've seen this guy's clips on YouTube.
Yeah, pull him
Yeah,
up,
he's pretty much everywhere.
type in Style Bender.
Style. Yeah, no, I've heard that before. I've definitely heard that before.
Yeah.
Yeah, my brother's a big UFC fan, so he watched it, but I just couldn't stay up till 5 a.m.
Yeah,
On
I
a
never
work
stay
night.
like up to like that early.
Yeah.
I just like wait the next day, just go onto YouTube trending, and it's normally up there.
Yeah,
it's like a 7-minute highlight.
highlights. Yeah, my brother likes to watch them live because he did a bit of UFC when we used to live in the Middle East. So
Oh, nice. Okay.
he's a pretty big fan.
Yeah.
A lot of my friends are fans, actually. I think it's really big in the Middle East. A lot of people watch it.
Mhm.
So a lot of my friends from there.
Yeah,
are all
I think
really
they
big
built
fans.
like a whole fight island in
Saudi,
the
I
Middle
think,
East, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it was.
Saudi or is UAE, Dubai somewhere?
I can't remember. Yeah, but
Abu
yeah,
Dhabi maybe. They built like a specific island for it, and they have like the
yeah.
whole area just reserved for it. It's pretty cool.
So, would you spend your weekend doing ramen?
Prepping for uni. I had my induction today, like re-induction for third year. It's a bit of a mess, but we gotta get on with it. All online, but yeah, whatever. As long as they give us our resources, I'm happy with continuing. There's quite a few students who are quite unhappy with like communication between the higher ups and students and fees and all this madness. I mean, it is COVID, so everything's pretty much closed. You're doing everything online, and it's like 9.25k for a year online. Like, what the hell? I could do that shit for free, But
It's like 9K for FaceTime.
exactly.
Ramen's University, are you listening? He has
Yeah,
a
man.
message for you.
And it's not honestly, it's not even my university. It's just like universities and the
universities
government
right
in
now,
general.
Yeah.
To be fair, I don't think they really know what to do right now.
Yeah,
Just,
definitely.
just waive the university fees. It's like you're scamming us out of like all this money.
Yeah.
It's like daylight robbery straight up.
Yeah.
I was thinking I'll talk to some of my film student friends who already graduated, and like talk to them about making a potential document on like the biggest scam of 2020 in the UK, the student fees and the maintenance loans. Because like you're taking all our money, but then universities are gonna like not be fully accessible. Everything's online. You won't have like studio time and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And like we're also most likely gonna have a second lockdown. So but,
Yeah.
that's just life,
That's
right?
true. Well, in brighter or maybe not so bright news, what I wanted to talk with you guys about today is anime that we thought we would like but didn't.
Yeah.
Not sure how interesting this will be for you guys, but maybe you can hear some contradicting opinions or find out some animes that you really shouldn't watch.
I think there's going to be some definitely controversial ones right now.
We do have very differing opinions on animes,
most things,
on most things,
to be
yeah.
honest.
So what's the one that you kind of picked?
So I picked two. The first one that I'm going to talk about it's called God Eater. I don't know if you guys watched this or heard of it or.
I've heard of it,
Yeah.
but I've not gone to watch it.
I've
no.
heard of the game, and I played the game. And I was surprised that they were making anime around it, but I never really got time to watch the anime for it. I think it came out quite a while ago, right?
Yeah, it came out a couple of years ago. I didn't know there was a game aspect to it, to be honest.
Oh,
I
okay.
only
I
watched
just
the
know of
anime.
it as an anime. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it was
had no
just.
idea there
I
was a game.
remember it was moderately hyped when it was released because otherwise I probably wouldn't have watched it. I remember me and my brother, one of my friends, Raja, all like ordered pizza, and
Yeah.
sat down to watch this anime, and we were like so hyped to watch it, and then we started watching it, and I remember back then, this was a couple of years ago now, maybe like 4 years ago, we were so disappointed with the graphics, and I remember thinking at the time like the story was pretty good in the first episode, but I just couldn't get over how bad the 3D graphics were. And so before we recorded this episode, I went back to rewatch the first episode to just see whether what I thought was just something that I thought at the time because it was different. And I think in terms of the 3D graphics, that was definitely just something to do with the time period and the
Yeah.
animes that I was watching a few years ago. And I think a lot of animes weren't using 3D processing or CGI.
CGI, yeah.
So I think that kind of took me by surprise when I first watched it, and I remember really not liking it, especially the like monsters in the anime.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
really CGI. Like it's very obvious they're CGI. The main characters are like flip flop in and out, and the main characters I would say today are pretty good. But I think you can see the kind of like robotic movements of the CGI
Yeah.
with the monsters they're fighting.
I think because you can get some really bad CGI anime like Berserk or
Yeah.
Nasa Sidonia,
Yeah.
and rightly so. Like it turns a lot of people off
Yeah.
from the anime itself. I actually checked out like the first episode of God Eater, and to be honest, I didn't think the animation was that bad. Like
Yeah,
now,
yeah.
because I think
Looking
we've
back.
gotten used to it,
Yeah.
and some of the character design is alright. I thought,
Yeah.
and the monsters are pretty unique. But when I watched the first episode, it felt like I was actually halfway through the anime already. There was no
I
like
know what you mean,
backstory.
yeah.
There was like no build up to anything. It was just like,
throws you in.
yeah, just go, right? Some people might like that, but I just thought it was a bit all over the place.
The thing that confused me was that normally when they do that, they at least have flashbacks to like kind of explain things to you, but there doesn't seem like I watched the first couple episodes, which is more than I got through a few years back, and it doesn't really, they don't really do much of a good job of kind of telling you the entire story. So I don't know if the game gave you more to go off when you watched it.
Yeah, because I think the game was on like PSP and like Nintendo maybe.
Yeah.
I remember playing it on some kind of handheld console.
Yeah.
And it did have more backstory there, like a reason why they're
Yeah.
fighting and like
So
the
maybe they're
weapons and all
assuming
that kind of stuff.
people who played the game
Definitely,
would be the
yeah.
ones watching the anime.
It's like Grand
Right,
Blue
right.
Fantasy, and like there's another anime that was based off a game that came out. I can't remember what it was. There's even like a Dragon Quest anime as well. I haven't watched it. It's like a movie, but recently there's been like a resurgence of those kind of anime. I'm not
Yeah.
sure how good they are,
Yeah.
but I think definitely it was probably pandering to the game base,
Yeah.
like the fans.
Which is
they
funny
already had.
because I feel
There's
like we're more used to animes being turned into games.
There's a lot of games turned into anime, like the whole
I didn't
Final
know that.
Fantasy
Oh,
Yeah,
world
that's
have you
is,
played
has
the
has
World
animes,
Ends with You?
like movies.
I
Huh?
have not.
The World Ends with You.
No.
It's a classic like Nintendo DS game.
Mm-hmm.
It's set in Japan, right? It's a
Yeah.
Japanese game. It was so unique when I played it, and I banged it out so much when I was like younger, right? You collect pins, and the pins give you powers, and there's like a countdown to like the end of the world, and there's like reapers that you
Yeah.
have to go and face. And it's like you just go all over Shinjuku and Shibuya and like some areas in Japan.
Right.
And like the characters are really cool, and the combat was really cool.
Yeah.
They're making an anime of it.
Oh,
So it's
sick.
going to be coming out 2021. So I'm like super hyped for that.
Oh, that's cool.
That sounds pretty good, yeah.
What games do you know that were turned into anime then, other than
Like the Final Fantasy ones I know of.
Yeah.
I would say they are one of the big ones
Yeah.
for games turning into anime. I don't know any other specific like
I think
games that
there's
they
more-
got inspired to make animes.
There's
for-
Persona as well. Persona.
Yeah, Persona. But Persona was, yeah, you're right. It was a game
It was
first,
a game,
wasn't
yeah,
it?
yeah.
Yeah, but
Those
I
are
haven't
so
watched
good.
the anime.
But like, I think you have to have a lot of free time to play those games.
Yeah.
Like I played a few of them when I was younger,
Mm-hmm.
but the recent ones you have to like at least put in 50, 60 hours just to
Yeah.
get anywhere in the story.
Mhm.
And I don't really have that much time, but I do watch like some of the gameplays.
I definitely
it does
play a
look
lot
good.
more multiplayer than like single player. Like even The Witcher, I've been wanting to play The Witcher for ages, but I know that you have to put a lot of hours into
Yeah.
that game.
I'm just glad I played it like when it came out 3 years ago, because I
Yeah.
feel like if it came out now, I definitely not have time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So with God Eater, what else you didn't like about it?
Well, so there was the animation, which was kind of something I didn't like 4 years ago, but I feel like I wouldn't mind today. It's not great. Definitely, animes that do CGI better, like Dohedoro on Netflix. That definitely it's definitely 3D and CGI, but it's a lot more fluid and like just a lot more polished, and it definitely looks a lot better when you compare it side by side with God Eater. So I feel like in today's world, the CGI doesn't hold up. And back when it came out, it was just too much.
Yeah.
So I feel like it came at an unfortunate time in
Fair
between
enough.
when they were getting good at CGI and when CGI was like an acceptable thing.
Like Digimon had aspects of CGI, like
Well,
3D
there's lots of
animations.
anime, like even Great Teacher Onizuka had like some of the cars were 3D.
Yeah.
But when you see it in just like a scene, it's
Yeah.
all right. But when the entire anime is based on
Animes,
CGI and the CGI is not that great, it kind of spoils it, in my opinion.
Yeah, fair enough.
But other than the CGI, I just think looking at it now, the story just is so overplayed. It's such a common like character trope. Like this guy's probably lost his family, doesn't really go into it. He hates the monster things. He's like the best fighter ever.
Yeah.
They give him
Alright,
the virtual training and he slays all the monsters and saves
He's just
this
the
guy.
best
They
at
never met-
everything.
Yeah.
He's just
So
OP
it's kinda-
as hell.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like one of those OP things. Like he in the first episode, I don't know if I'm spoiling this or not, but I don't really recommend you watch this, so I don't really care. He has like a sword, like his weapon is a sword, and like I don't know, the weapons are kind of like they're styled after the Gears of War gun, in my opinion.
Okay.
Like some of them are guns and they have like chainsaws on them, and like a lot of them
Right.
kind of look like chainsaws. I don't know why there's so many characters with like chainsaw weapons that are actually knives, but anyway, this guy has a sword and like he wants to reach this person far away to save them, and then his sword transforms into a gun and someone goes, "Whoa, a new type, it transforms," you know? And I was like, how overplayed is that? Like I get that maybe it came out 4 years ago and maybe 4 years ago it wasn't super overplayed, but again, just if you were to pick it up now, you would just get really bored, and I feel like it doesn't have a super unique story. The character designs are pretty cool. Like there's one of the professors who has a really cool design. He's got like really interesting, unique glasses, which was something that I noticed. And I think in general, they've done most of the character designs well, maybe not the weapons, but kind of what they're wearing, and the world is quite well designed. But I just think the lack of story / character development and the kind of subpar graphics just mean that it's not a recommendation from me.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I think the main thing for me is always story. If I don't like an anime, it's probably because of the story. And the one that I'm going to talk about is Goblin Slayer. So it's probably going to be controversial because a lot of people
that is interesting
liked
for me as well.
Goblin Slayer, but I think it just lacked in the story area for me to kind of feel engaged.
Okay.
So I was really hyped for the anime, right?
Yeah, it was a very hyped release.
It was really
and
big.
it's made by White Fox, like the studio behind Steins Gate and ReZero. So I was kind of excited for this. And to be honest, the concept was definitely my style, like fantasy, a guy, like a badass looking guy, he's going to go and fight things in a dungeon, etc. So I was like hyped for this. But I think in my summary, if I was to sum this up in like one line, when you play like a really bad MMO, it always has a shit story. Like nothing is going on. So I feel like this anime was literally a shit story MMO where not a lot happened. And I think it's down to lazy writing. Like the way that
they
the
definitely
story was
rely
written.
a lot on like gore factor or like just
they really did rely on like the more like unexpected factors, something that you wouldn't be expecting to see in like a fantasy anime of that sort, where it's just like a chivalrous knight trying to like fight off monsters and stuff. There's a lot of like surprise factors, a lot of like unexpected things. I don't want to spoil it because
it was definitely a controversial to say the least.
It's like a 50-50 between people who really hate it and people who really like it. And obviously, I personally would say watch it and think for yourself, because I
think
I kind of enjoyed it. Yeah,
it was a very, very controversial release.
Yeah. So I think the first point I want to talk about in this anime is like the use of violence and fear, right? Obviously, it's very controversial what happens inside the first episode, like the violence going on inside there. And I think it was mainly used for the shocking factor, right? To shock audiences, to kind of show that it's a mature anime. but I feel like it focused too much on it because
I feel like
throughout
that's
the
the
rest
whole
of the anime, they just kept referring to it.
Yeah.
But then what gets me is in the second or third episode, right? You get this change to like a slice of life anime with this girl, like this girl in a farm, and she's just doing her daily tasks.
Yeah, I get
So
what you mean.
it changed too fast, like from it's trying to portray itself as a mature seinen anime with like violence and crazy kind of aspects going on in the dungeon, to a slice of life, like
For a couple
warm-hearted,
episodes,
random stuff just going on. And I think the biggest thing as well to me was the enemies were very boring, right? So in the story, we come across like an ogre, a goblin king, like a champion, and a few other like big kind of bosses, but they have no personality.
Yeah.
They're literally just big and they're there to die. They're just like an obstacle for the main character.
I just think like that's the whole point. I don't think these like goblins are supposed to have like if I was to watch it and the goblin had a personality, I don't think I would feel as like oh, this is Goblin Slayer. Like he's there to kill the goblins. Like then it would be like, oh, why is he really killing the goblins? Like if they had personality and like a presence, it would feel like, oh shit, like there's something to them, but you're meant to hate these goblins throughout the whole thing. Like they're supposed to be the most gruesome, ugly beings in the entire planet,
like
right?
Definitely some people prefer that, like nothing's going on with the monster part. But
you're supposed to
me,
hate them.
It was kind of like
it's
a bit mundane, where it's just
I get that.
you're just killing the guy and like nothing's happening, right?
Yeah, I get that.
Obviously, you've built up the hate against it, but if you're showcasing this goblin to be like the lord or the king or whatever, and they die within 2 strikes, it's kind of like, why was I watching? In a way. And that takes me on to my next point, which is the fight scenes inside the anime. I feel like the main character is a bit OP, right? A lot of stuff was just predictable was going to happen. Like if something was going to go bad, when the goblins were going to attack. And I remember specifically when the ogre attacks them, he gets knocked out, right? The Goblin Slayer gets knocked out. But during the time where he gets knocked out and he recovers, nothing's happened. Like the rest of the characters, they haven't really taken any decisions. And the ogre itself hasn't really attacked anyone else. It's like the whole anime is just waiting for him to do something. And it just felt very, very scripted, like a play. And obviously I know why. It's because he's the main character and he's got like the plot armor. He's the one to do everything himself. So that was like another kind of my fault with the anime in a way. I didn't really enjoy it because it felt very predictable. You know, it wasn't fun. It wasn't like something new was going to happen in a way. It wasn't really capturing my interest.
Yeah. I guess on the flip side of that is like the entire concept and just the general like controversiality and gore and violence in the anime was probably the selling point / that was like the story base. And I feel like some people may have liked it just because it was so out there.
I think a lot of people liked it because it was very simplistic. It was just something very easy to consume. For me, in terms of story, it was pretty much like, where's the goblins? Here's the goblins. I'm going to go kill the goblins. Yeah, it was very, very straightforward. Some people really like it.
I think if they made it complex, I wouldn't see the point.
I get what you mean. I can see both sides of it, where it's like definitely you get kind of bored watching it at some point.
If it was way too complex, like also, the goblins were like they had like stages and all that sort of stuff, I don't think I'd enjoy it, and I wouldn't personally be like, oh yeah, I have like a super hatred. I'd be like, oh yeah, it's just getting better and better and whatnot.
And nothing's happening with the goblins. It didn't really draw me in because it's just like a very mundane thing that's going on.
I feel like again,
it's very repetitive.
There was an opportunity to have some other things in there. Like I think at one point they're like in a sewer and there's some other type of mystical beast or whatever that they fight. But like there wasn't much of that. I feel like they could have expanded a bit more on the actual world.
I think it's because it was just like a 1-season thing, and they just.
Another season's coming.
Is there another season coming? Oh, crap!
So hopefully that's better, right?
That's what I was hoping for.
But I think like some of the dialogue was very, very basic from the main character. Like he literally doesn't speak anything. He's just like Soka. I see. Yeah. He doesn't say anything else.
Well, I mean that's the whole point of the character. Though. Like we can't. I don't think
a main character needs to be more than that.
No, that's why the thing is like it just depends on the anime as well. Like I don't think the main character must always have like all the lines. I specifically
remember like a dialogue between him and like the main girl or something. She was saying like, "Oh, it must be good to have a lot of work," and then he says, it's better when there's no goblins. And then she says, I see.
But I mean, like, if you think
and I was
about
just
it,
like, why am I watching this? It's
he's
like, this is
like-
the most basic stuff.
but I feel like you can compare that kind of like really dark, mundane sort of main character to Parasite's main character. He has like no personality once the parasite gets to him. His like he has no human elements, and the main character from Goblin Slayer also like he kind of lost his human elements after what's happened to him.
All right. In
but
terms
like
of characters, who else do you remember from Goblin Slayer?
I remember pretty much. I remember the female and the whole like crew. I watched it like. I enjoyed it. That's why I actually remember the whole thing, and everyone had like an individual story behind why they joined.
Was the girl that follows him, and like there's that. What is she, a priestess or something?
Yeah.
Water priestess.
Yeah,
I can't
yeah.
remember what that was the only other character I remembered.
Yeah, I think for me they were very forgettable. Like they were very like stereotypical. There's always like one girl who has like the crush on him and is like very overconfident.
Yeah, but I mean, you can kind of say that about like any anime, right? Like there's
Pretty much
always
every
it's a
anime.
character trope.
You're
and,
gonna
like,
you're
there's
gonna
always
need
gonna
that
be
like
character tropes.
Yeah, and I feel like
aspect.
like specifically in this anime, the reason why I was hyped for it and then it didn't really pay off for me is because none of the characters really stood out. There was nothing going on with them. They were very
The side characters, yeah, I can see that.
very
like
boring in
they
a
don't
way.
really
I think for me
expand
it's
on the
because
side
I wasn't so
characters.
hyped for it. Like I didn't read much about it, so I just went into it with a clean slate, and that's why I enjoyed it.
Do you know with the characters, purposely they have no names apart from like Goblin Slayer. They're literally called like Red Lancer, Elf Girl,
they're like
etc.
like guild names.
Because
like
the author, he was gonna give them names, but in the end he decided not to because he wanted to like people to give up their like think of their own names, which I feel like for me personally, like around episode 3, I was like, wait, what's her name? So I couldn't really
never thought of
realize
that.
other
I didn't
people's
realize
names.
that at all.
I just thought that that's the purpose of it. If he's
Yeah.
called Goblin Slayer, then
No,
everyone else
the
is going to
Goblin
be
Slayer is
called.
fine, but the rest of them is kind of like, oh, so she's Farm Girl or Red Girl, and she's Elf Girl, and that guy is Lancer, and he's Dragon like guy or whatever.
Dragon Knight and stuff like that. I
Yeah.
mean, I didn't see. It never crossed my mind.
I didn't
I
realize
just
that.
took it as
Fair enough.
granted, and it was just their characters like traits, I guess. Like that's the characters they were. That's the like powers that they had and stuff like that.
Yeah, like I think another thing for me was like the illogical stuff happening in the anime. I felt like nobody else apart from Goblin Slayer had any good ideas. Like every single time they went to a dungeon, he'd basically do all the work. Like even like one of the times where he takes the canary into the dungeon, he doesn't explain why. And like for some reason, they get locked into a room where the goblins are attacking, and the goblins are using poisonous gas. So then he was right all along to bring a canary. I feel like it was just too far of a stretch, like him taking that canary without any thought, without explaining it to us. But for some reason, they're using poisonous gas in that sort of fight scene.
Yeah.
And they don't really show his face, and he takes his mask off at the end. And I think like the reason why they don't show his face because he's going to be the most generic character ever.
He's supposed to be the most generic character ever because the thing, like what happens to him in his backstory, he doesn't exactly have a flashy life. He didn't grow up in like a super flashy family.
Sure.
And I
He's
think
like
his
just the guy
backstory
who
was,
survived.
like, very generic as well. Like somebody in his family dies, so he wants revenge.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
think-
it's
I
the
think a
way
lot of
it's the
people-
way that they died.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
that's
I know,
where
I
you
know.
get the sympathy points from
Yeah.
it. The family member didn't just
Yeah.
like die. It's like
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
way that they portrayed that. That's when I was like, once I found out about that, I was like, yo, I really do hate these goblins.
Yeah,
Like,
I think that's
it's
definitely
like the worst shit ever.
So I think I get why you don't like it. I
Yeah.
think
Oh,
that,
yeah,
I think
for
that
sure.
the reasons that you don't like it is like a purposeful decision. I feel like they purposefully made it. I feel like it's almost like an experiment, this anime, because like it's very different than a lot of other anime that have come out.
Yeah.
And I feel like it definitely feels like an experiment to me to see how much they could make you dislike a fictional
Room to
character.
play around. Yeah.
Yeah. So like definitely they force you to hate the goblins when you're watching
Yeah.
it, and like you really do genuinely feel hatred towards them from the things that you see happen.
And they did a great job with that, honestly.
But,
Yeah, definitely. I can see why people like it. But for me, I just wanted something more.
Yeah, for sure.
So
Ramen,
yeah.
what's your
I
non-recommendation?
I watched a lot of animes, and like most of the stuff that I've watched over my like until now, I haven't actually like disliked as much, except for like one that kind of stood out, and that was the irregular at Magic High
Irregular
School.
at Magic High School. Isn't it?
Yeah, that's like the worst
I
anime.
really dislike that.
Like
anime.
I've sat myself through like 4 or 5 episodes of it, and then I was like,
I watched all of it.
I trudged through all of
nah.
it.
I thought it was gonna get better.
I just stopped.
I was
I thought it was
hoping
gonna get
better.
I
better.
just knew that it because I have watched so many of these high school like Magic High School animes
Yeah.
before. It was the same repeated story,
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much.
like the exact same thing. Like I can compare this to like Chivalry of a Failed Knight, right? And that's the exact like same plot. It's Magic High School with
Yeah.
knights and swordsmen. It was like pretty much the same theme, just a different artist, a different art style. Less, it felt less manga and more manhwa to me.
And I think for me, it just got really weird when his sister kept trying to fuck him.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
it,
yeah,
it
you're
just,
right.
It just went
So
over
that's
the top.
definitely one of the things that just gets too much. Like
Yeah.
the sister
It's like he's
brother
like
thing.
he's
we
like
talked about
yes,
this.
and then he's like no, and then he's like no, but
Yeah.
then yes.
But then he's always
yes,
trying to
it is-
save her, and then she's touching him. And I think there's one time,
and then
like,
he
she
likes
falls on
it,
him.
and then he's like no.
Yeah. But
It's like
we talked
it's
about this
crazy,
before
yeah.
with the weird brother sister dynamic,
Yeah.
cousin.
this
cousin
is
dynamic.
this is
But
just
did-
horrible
this,
anime.
This one's quite
The story was just
I think
bleh.
I literally.
Did you know there's a second
hated-
season coming as well?
Oh,
Not
gosh.
gonna
Oh,
watch
well,
it.
Next
you know
year, I
what?
think.
It was very popular when it came out. I have no
I don't know
idea
why.
why.
Yeah.
I think
Um,
it's got to be with the
A lot
there's
of people like the
a lot of
character
people
design.
like the character. Yeah,
I-
exactly. The
I thought
character.
the
He's a
uniform was
handsome
ugly.
kid
Yeah.
and stuff.
He was generic.
You know?
That his face was generic, hairstyle generic.
It's a very no. That's the thing. It's a very generic, handsome high school like
But I
anime
think that
male,
was the main thing
Yeah.
that people like. People
and
liked that.
a lot of people just love that. They
And I
dig
think
that.
The other thing was I don't know if anyone listening is going to go watch it after Ramen said he doesn't like it, but if you do watch it, maybe don't listen to the next 30 seconds.
Right, skip.
So essentially, in the anime, I think they do the magic quite differently. So it's like he calculates it. It's like
Yeah, he's like
so
some
that-
kind of like engineer or some shit like
Well,
that, and
I
he's doing.
think he's actually a robot. I watched the whole thing, so I can't remember
Oh, I
exactly.
haven't watched
but
the whole
I'm pretty
thing, no.
sure he's a robot
Okay.
or programmed or something. I can't remember.
All
the
right,
exact
he's in the
story.
army for that country and stuff, right?
Yeah, so I can't
He, like,
remember
fights in
what
the-
exactly he is, but he can do like these calculations, and the way they do the magic is like in a different way than I've ever seen. So they have to like calculate it, and it's like all to
Mhm.
do with equations and stuff.
Yeah.
Spoiler over. So I think that was also like the one unique thing that stuck out to me, and I was like, that's kind of cool.
They
It's not
honestly
just
could have
like-
done so much better with it.
Yeah, oh no, for sure. I thought the story was trash. I did not enjoy it. I was really, really bored, and I literally forced myself to finish it just so that I
Do you,
finished
do you
it.
remember
bother.
the main enemy?
I don't remember anything. I just
Yeah, that's
remember
what I'm
the
trying to
brother
think
and
about
sister
it.
Did they even
dynamic
have a
and,
main
like,
enemy?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I don't think it
I
was
thought
any
I thought his
enemy.
main enemy was his dad.
Okay,
The one he was
okay.
trying to get away from and try to live a normal high school
Yeah.
life and not go back to
And
the,
no
to
way
the
he was living
magic
a normal
army and
life-
whatnot.
like high school
Didn't he
life.
live with his sister?
Yeah, and they were living in some
Sus.
really like minted like
Simp.
apartment or something as well.
Yeah. Well, it was just. It could have been so much better. There was a lot of potential there with the unique magic styling and stuff.
Yeah,
but I
for
just
sure.
think they just played out the generic
yeah.
like.
I think it just turned
brother-sister
into
dynamic.
a very mundane kind of generic.
It was
pile of
just
crap.
boring. Literally, if I could describe it in
Yeah.
any way, I would just say boring. And I don't know if this is true, but I had a friend who told me the manga's much better and the manga's actually interesting.
Dunno.
So you can give that a try, I guess.
yeah,
but I
I'm not
can't.
looking at.
I'm not going to
Yeah,
just based
I'm-
off the anime.
If
but
I'm not gonna like the anime, I
Yeah.
doubt I'm gonna like them.
Yeah, I remember when I finished it, I was actually angry because I realized I wasted time. I wanted that time
I
back.
literally forced
you know?
myself to finish it in case it got better, and it didn't.
Because you know it's not 12 episodes, right? It's like 24 episodes, I think.
Well, I think I might have just like caught up to the end. I'm pretty sure I only watched 12, so I
Let
didn't
me
even
check.
finish it. If it's not 12, then I literally watched 12 episodes. I must have just watched
I
up
watched
until
5
it
and I
was being released.
stopped because I just could not get myself to
I just think it
pull
was
myself
really
through that.
boring.
Yeah, it had 26 episodes.
I watched 12.
Hmm.
then.
26
Good lord.
episodes
After
of
12.
shit. Like absolutely nothing going on.
I'm surprised they made it last 26 and have a second season.
Yeah.
And they're having a second season. That's wow. Well,
They must have
oh
made a lot
right,
of
the
money.
second season's actually coming out this month.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they
Right,
probably
right,
made a lot of
right.
sales from the light novel because it comes from a light novel, not really.
Yeah.
like
Light
manga.
novels tend to like bring in a lot
They
of
have a really
readers.
hardcore, dedicated like fan base for
Yeah.
like reading it. And then
Oh yeah, it was
when you
light
get the
novels, wasn't it?
merchandise,
Yeah.
Was there even? Maybe my friend was talking about the light novels, not the manga. I don't know if there is a
it's light
manga.
novel. Yeah.
They must
Light
have been talking
novels
about the light novel
tend to
then.
bring in a lot of like fans into.
Must have
like,
been the light
because
novel.
Sword Art Online was a light novel as well.
Yeah, it was super popular before the
Yeah.
anime, and then the anime was obviously super popular.
Exactly. So
In terms of, I suppose, going back to the type of anime that you were talking about, Tala, with Goblin Slayer being quite unique, the one that I'm saying that I dislike, there's kind of two that I want to talk about. I don't know if we'll have time for two, but I'll just mention one of them briefly. Devilman Crybaby. That was a very, very unique anime, very unique story. I like Goblin Slayer, it was just a bit too much for me.
Yeah. For me as well.
It's very much like they're playing off it being gory, wow factor,
end
crazy.
of the world kind
Never
of like
watched it.
apocalyptic kind of scenario.
But again, it's just so obscene. I think that like it was too much for me. I watched 2 episodes with a friend.
Yeah.
And after 2 episodes, I was like, is anything gonna happen except for like obscenity? Like, is there any story here? I don't know if this is going to spoil it for anyone. It's definitely very unique, and I'd recommend just watching the first episode just so that you see like how crazy it is. Maybe you'll like it.
To be honest, I really like the animation style. Like, I know a lot of people didn't like it.
It's very unique.
But for me, it was, something eye-catching and different.
Yeah, definitely.
But I think once they kind of like started progressing the story and certain things happened in the story, right? Like a few people died, right? And the way that the end of the world is coming, etc.
Yeah.
When it went into this kind of phase, I wasn't really interested. Like it wasn't like appealing to me. But I wanted to know how it's going to end because I was like, what's going to happen? Is the world going to be saved, etc.? What is going to happen? But the ending was shit. I didn't like it at all.
I didn't get to the ending, which is why I said I'm going to talk about 2. But after those 2 episodes, I just like in one of the scenes. Don't know if this is a spoiler to you guys or not. Someone like. They're in a club. It's like in the first episode, I think, or maybe the second episode.
Yeah.
And they're clubbing and like people turn into demons. And I'm pretty sure I remember the guy literally just being like, I'm going to start. And he just starts in this club.
Oh, it's a bit, mature.
Yeah, that's why it was just too much. Like
it's very random, right?
I didn't understand. Like they just, so essentially when they become a demon, they start sinning. And like that was this guy's sin. And that was, again, it was just some crazy wow factor.
Yeah.
Getting you like seeing how obscene this is, showing you it's different, it's edgy, and it was just for me like after that episode I was already like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
And then the second one, it was just it continued, and I was like, is this all it's gonna be?
Yeah, I think it was to sum it up in one word. Yeah, it was depressing.
Yeah,
because like the more it got further in the story, the more bad shit used to happen, right? And the ending where I'm going to spoil the ending because I think people watch this by now. It's like 3 years old, Netflix. Everyone's got Netflix, right? Like the world ends. Like,
oh wow,
they can't actually save it, okay? And the world ends. And between the main guy and the blonde hair guy, like there's a lot of like stuff that happens. Like the blonde guy is actually like I think
the
God or devil or whatever.
The white haired guy is like the big enemy, right? But he's like the guy's friend. Yeah,
at first he's the friend.
As soon as I saw that, it becomes apparent.
He turns into like the devil or something, and like he's the devil.
It just it was just so, it looked to me just so boring. Like as soon as I saw the kind of second episode, I was like, this isn't for me.
It's like normally I like to watch like a positive anime or something very like engaging.
I don't mind it being dark.
Me like like I don't mind dark, right? But at least it needs to be something that doesn't make me feel depressed. Like I don't want to see an anime about a world ending and then the world actually ends.
Yeah.
So like, that's not going to put me in like a good mood, right?
Well, it's like not even that. It's just the things that happen were just too much. But anyway, that was my like one of mine that I wanted to get over. The other one. So I know that Devilman Crybaby was very popular. I have no idea why. If you liked it, please let us know.
Oh, quick thing with the Devil May Cry one as well. The same author / producer who made that anime, right? Yeah. They made another one called Japan Sinks. I'm not sure if you've seen Japan Sinks
on Netflix.
But I watched a couple of episodes. Shit.
Oh, okay. Well, they must
really great.
Wait, the trailer was really good. I've got it like saved up, and I'm looking forward to watching it. And now you've kind of like ruined it.
It's got that same kind of shock factor where everything's ending, people are dying everywhere, and it's just like chaos all around. If you enjoy watching that kind of stuff, I think you'll be down your like way.
Well, I'll give the first episode a try just to see if I hate it, and then I can come on again and just trash it.
Watch a couple episodes at least, like maybe 3 or 4. Get like a real good grasp of it.
Yeah, if you like either of these or any of the ones that we're talking about today, just let us know why. Maybe you've got a more valid opinion than ours.
Yeah.
So the other one that I was going to talk about is also a bit. It will probably be a controversial pick, but I really did not like Cells at Work. or in Japanese,
I don't know what that is.
Hataraku Saibo.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's how you say it, but
I've heard of it, but I never watched it.
so I give it I give it a lot of props for being very educational. Like the facts that are in it. I watched quite a few episodes because I wanted so badly to like it, but I just couldn't. It's basically explains how your body works and how your immune system works. And like while it's very educational, people like the character designs, people like the story. But for me, it was just really boring. It was so boring, in fact, that I had
Like
to
nothing
stop after
happens.
4 episodes.
Yeah. Okay.
So I didn't not watch the entire thing. I just skipped through all the other episodes. I just couldn't sit and properly watch them. I just had to skip through them, but I wanted to finish it because of how popular it was and how unique the story is. So the main characters are a red blood cell and a white blood cell. And so it explains to you like how it's very unique. So like they're inside a body. The inside of the body is like a city.
Yeah.
And it
That's pretty
explains to you how your immune system works by saying like, oh, the red blood cell delivers nutrients and food, and so she's like a delivery girl, and the white blood cells protect the red blood cells and the rest of the body from germs. So then you have this white blood cell, and normally they're very standoffish with the red blood cells. They help them, but they don't really talk to them, and they're like, they kind of just pop up out of nowhere, kill a germ, and go away. Obviously, there has to be some level of romance or tension. So the red blood cell and the white blood
So
cell are
weird.
kind of
Romance
like
in your body.
yeah. So they're kind of
Your body's having some malfunction.
it's you again, red blood cell. Oh, it's you, Mr. White blood cell. Come save me. Is that kind of dynamic that they've put in just so that there's something that happens? Because other than that, pretty much nothing
body
happens.
that might be in. What kind of celebrity would have that kind of body?
I guess you get a pink
romance?
blood cell if you mix the two.
Jeez Louise.
But yeah, so it goes through and it talks about all the different types of cells that you have. So there's the T cells. There's some other ones like lymph nodes and there's a bunch of them. There's one that begins with a P, which they're all little kids, and they're basically the building cells. I can't remember what the actual cell is called, but I don't know why they're children. I think they're technically like small in cell sizes or
Stem
something.
cells, or I don't know.
I can't remember what they were at this point. It was something
Sounds like a science lesson.
Pala something. I can't remember what they were. But it just seemed to me like there was a lot went into the character design for sure. Like their characters are really, really different, unique, look really cool, and the story idea is very unique and cool. But I just think that nothing happens, and it's to the point where like nothing happens, but you know exactly what's going to happen. So there's always going to be a germ.
Yeah.
There's always going to be Mr. White blood cell popping up to save the day, and like he's like kind of ultra powerful in comparison to the other white blood cells. You know what I mean? Like
That's actually pretty cool.
He's probably supposed to be a T cell. Yeah, I mean you might like it. People loved it. People literally loved this anime. People think it's incredible, but I just found it too predictable. Like I just knew what was going to happen. So different like things happen. So there's one episode where there's a scrape. So the person has a scrape, and it explains to you like, oh, the little kids who build your body, they're like putting they're clotting your blood, so they throw out this like huge net that like stops. So it's like all of them are getting sucked into this giant black hole. Yeah. And it's like all the red blood cells because you're bleeding, quote unquote. So there's like a hole in your body and you're bleeding. Okay. So the way that they like do things is really unique. But then they fix it, whatever. There's some germs, and then like the guy starts killing the germs, and then the T cells, which are like the kill cells, they come in and they like start killing all the powerful germs, and it's like it's just kind of every episode. And it is interesting because there are some like I learned some stuff about cells. I don't remember what the cells were called at this point, but like it really goes into the science of it. It explains a lot to you, and I feel like if I was young, if I was like 10, this would be incredible. I would love it. Like I would be so interested in the science aspect.
I was thinking, to be honest, if I was like a science teacher, I would literally give this anime to my students to watch.
Like if you were in like if I was in school, if I was younger, I would definitely enjoy the story for sure. Like I would really, really like it. But just being like having finished school, like working, I just feel like it's too predictable for me to actually enjoy it. And if I was the type of person that could go off just character design or just a unique idea, I would definitely like it. But it's just too predictable for me.
Yeah, I think like as we get older as well, like our anime tastes kind of change.
Yeah, for sure.
Like I probably have less time for these kind of mundane anime, and I'd rather just focus on a few select ones which I've already kind of picked out.
Surprisingly, it's quite bloody. Like I'll show you a picture. This is like common look of the white blood cell. This is the white blood cell guy.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
he's
damn.
Just
always
all white.
He's all white, literally all white. The character design is very
enough.
cool, and he's
Yeah.
just completely covered in blood because
I
he's
want to see
killed
cosplays of that.
Oh yeah, there are some if you search it up, but like so that's the red blood cell.
Oh, okay,
That's
so they're
the
pretty much the same colors.
T-cell guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're really cool, unique character designs. That's like some cell that begins with an M. It's
Yeah.
like a super powerful white blood cell.
With big boobs.
Yeah. Basically, that's that, and she has a big
Obviously.
Where
knife.
she gets all her
Yeah.
powers from.
But yeah, so yeah, for sure. And these are like some of the viruses. Definitely very unique
Oh, yeah,
design.
definitely.
Props for the design, props for the idea. I just think that they should have made it a bit
I have a
less
feeling
predictable.
it might have been like slice of life, right?
It's a bit slice of life. It's a bit like science. It's a bit
Yeah.
action.
I think
Because
one of the tropes with slice of life is sometimes nothing happens.
yeah, it's kind of
And that's why people don't enjoy
it's
it.
kind of like that.
But I feel like maybe if you like slice of life and you want a new, interesting like taste.
Oh yeah, this is definitely a
you
new
could
take
try
on
that.
it.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is definitely a new take. But yeah, a lot of people really loved it. So
Yeah. Okay.
give it a shot.
I do think
And
this
if
is
you
on my Netflix list.
give it a shot, you might like it. I'm
I
telling
think
you,
it
people
is.
people really liked it. And I think if you were a younger viewer or you had a younger sibling, you're someone still in school, you have students, whatever, they would probably enjoy
Yeah.
it.
Mm-hmm.
But it just wasn't for me.
Okay. Yeah, no, fair enough. So I think the next one I'm going to talk about is quite different because I enjoyed it up until a certain point. So I enjoyed like the first couple of episodes, and then after that, I feel like it just went downhill. And the one I'm talking about is Beastars. Okay.
Oh, okay. I'll tell
I'm
you.
actually
I'll
looking
tell you my
forward to watching
nickname.
that. But
I'll tell you my nickname for Beastars. I call it Beastards because I
Rightly
just thought
so.
it was so bad.
Yeah. So I'll give a bit
Oh,
of
I have to
background
not watch that
about
then.
this anime, right? So it's set in a world where animals are able to like speak to each other. They live in a similar society to us humans, right? And we follow Legoshi, who's basically a wolf, and he's in high
He's a
school.
beta.
Yeah, he's
Man-
not alpha. He's
he is-
literally a beta
yeah.
character. Like he's such. That's what it is. Okay.
It's like if you took the Axel World main character, but he wasn't fat and he was a wolf.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
him,
exactly.
basically.
Yeah. And the world is split into two, so herbivores and carnivores. And
They
there's-
basically watched Zootopia and they were like, "Yes,
let's make an anime.
yeah, let's
Yeah.
make it.
Out of
Let
that.
make it anime."
yeah, with
Hmm.
boobs.
Like,
what it
that's
was.
it, literally.
And so there's a split between herbivores and carnivores, but they're living together, right? And there's some restrictions on carnivores. For example, like nobody can eat meat. There's no violence allowed on herbivores, etc. Like that, okay?
Like
And-
in Zootopia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think for me, it starts off good because it starts off with the murder scene, okay? Like an alpaca in the school, right? High school dies, okay? Fair enough. That's pretty cool. A carnivore kills him. And from this point, I'm like, all right, cool. This is going to be a really
Huge
cool
controversy.
series.
Yeah.
This is going to be a
Breaking
real
the
cool
law.
series. We're going to find out like who killed him, why they killed him, this carnivore who's going crazy,
Yeah,
etc.
they should have had a herbivore
Nope.
become a carnivore. And then
Maybe.
start hunting
That
the
probably
Yeah,
would have been
carnivores.
pretty
even
cool.
that would have been better than what this
Yeah,
shit turned
it
out to be.
becomes really
Like the
bad.
beta becomes the alpha wolf, and he's
Yeah.
like, "I'm gonna get revenge." For
So-
the
Bro,
alpaca.
he doesn't. The alpaca was like his best friend. He doesn't even seem to care that much. He's
Bruh.
just
So he's
like,
just like, oh, cool, it's just another
no,
death.
he's
Yeah.
dead. Oh.
But so Legoshi is he's a beta wolf, right? He's very timid, awkward, overthinks a lot, right? The other main characters that are of notable kind of appearance, right, is Lewis, who's basically a deer. And-
Ruis, I
yeah.
think you mean.
Lewis, yeah, Lewis, whatever. Yeah, he's seen as like the main B star, and I'll get onto that in a minute. He's very just like high standard kind of guy, quite strict. And then we have Haru, who's the main love interest, and it's a rabbit. Okay.
Yeah.
So these are the three main kind of characters. So the thing that I liked about it was it was a unique world. It's very pretty to look at. Okay,
I think
the way that the school was set up, the way that the society was set up, is something you don't really see.
Right,
So
right.
this is what definitely got me interested in the anime, right? And watching like the first couple of episodes and seeing what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And the animation was unique as well. It did have a bit of CGI, but it didn't really bother me. I thought it looked pretty cool.
I was gonna say, I think the character design, like they made all of the animals kind of act like their actual animal self most of the time, except for the wolf guy.
Yeah, they Legoshi.
Yeah.
So I think the main problem with this anime was the story. Okay,
It
the
is
story was
really
horrendous.
bad.
Okay, like it starts off good, right, but then it goes into like a bit of a romance between Legoshi, Haru, and Lewis, and
What,
it becomes like a
triangle.
love triangle. Yeah.
Yeah.
But some of this just doesn't make sense. Okay, first off, the main Haru, the rabbit, right? She's a thought. Okay, like literally, they're shown as like rabbits who are literally anything. Okay,
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
and
I mean, that's the whole concept of
the
rabbits,
illogical
right? Yeah.
part here, right, is Legoshi like he has like a conversation with her and he just becomes obsessed with her. Like after the first time, he literally just carries some flower pots for her. He starts getting obsessed with her. This whole idea of
The interesting thing is, man had a chance to smash and he didn't take
yeah.
it.
So that was actually quite shocking because like she basically decides to thank him by offering sex, right?
Okay.
But he doesn't take it because he's the beta that he is.
Right.
And he essentially just runs off, gets obsessed with her. You find out that Lewis, the B star, the other main deer character, okay, as
Right.
well, and they're actually in love.
Literally everyone, all the male characters
Yeah,
in the anime,
probably most of them. Yeah,
pretty much all of them, like even the ones that look stupid, the ones that look nerdy, like literally everyone's hit it.
yeah. And
Wow.
like to me, it doesn't really make sense why he gets obsessed with her. It just was not really. They didn't really have enough meaning behind it.
Wait, so
And they
what's the
kept
story
going-
about?
Yeah,
That's
just-
literally what it's
Just
about.
wait.
This
It
is what
starts
it's
off as
about.
this romance thing where he's obsessed with her. Okay, and
Already sounds shit.
basically they keep hinting to the idea that a rabbit and a wolf is forbidden, etc. But it doesn't
Yeah.
make sense because the rabbit's already smashed like everything, like a fox, a dog, and the fox and dog also hunt rabbits. Okay, so there's no idea like you can't be with a wolf because wolves hunt rabbits normally. So that part was just illogical. The fact that he's completely obsessed with her was also very, very illogical. So here's where it gets crazy. Okay.
Okay, I stopped after 2 episodes of this, so
Yeah.
this will be interesting.
So this animal high school romance drama,
Yeah.
okay, with like a serial killer popped in.
Right.
Okay, so the rabbit Haru gets kidnapped. Okay, it gets kidnapped by a lion gang. Okay, for no reason whatsoever other than that they want to feed her to their boss.
Huh.
Okay, so the main high school wolf becomes all kind of like superhero-y.
Is he alpha?
Yeah, he tries to go
Does he
alpha.
activate alpha?
Yeah, and he literally goes to like the lion's den, right? And this is like one of the most feared gangs in the society.
Yeah.
He goes with like a panda who he's met, like had a one conversation
Legend
with, and the panda
panda.
decides to kind of help him out.
Kung Fu
okay?
Panda
Is
out
the
here.
panda is the panda beefy?
Yeah, he's pretty beefy, and
Okay.
he's seen as more of an adult compared to Legoshi, who's
So-
more of a student.
I might watch just the panda.
Yeah,
just to
yeah.
see if
I think the
panda's a cool
panda's probably
guy.
the best character. He appears like 3 times, and he's probably the best character. But they basically go and beat up like 30 members of this lion gangster like meat eating gang, and he
Okay.
gets all the way to the top of their HQ and basically saves Haru, right?
Yeah.
And all because he wants to like confess to her.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
The funny thing is like they capture her, but they don't really kill her straight away. It's like I don't know what they're doing, but it's
Yeah.
obviously clearly just for the plot. Like realistically, in a real world, they would have captured her, they would have killed her, eaten her in the society,
Yeah.
and done and over with. But because of the story, like they capture her and they just wait for him to come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just doesn't make sense that
Wait,
way.
I don't completely understand what the story behind
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is.
So
You
this
don't-
is literally the story.
There's
doesn't
no
really
agenda
make
to any of
sense.
this.
It becomes like a romance into some kind of action kidnapping thing. And then here's like where
Should've
this
just done
whole
a movie on that
society
then.
kind of like falls down for me. Okay. So the gangster boss lion, right, pulls out a gun.
What?
Oh.
Yeah. He pulls out a
Boss
gun
man.
and he's about to like kill people like with it. Okay. He dies by it as well. Like Lewis turns up with a gun and kills him and all this kind of crap. But the whole idea of a gun.
Where did they get a gun?
Exactly.
They're animals.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
thought that was
okay?
the point.
Yes. So the whole idea of this society was that carnivores are too dangerous. They need to have rules, no meat, no kind of like aggressiveness, etc. Carnivores can get out of hand, etc.
What?
Yeah. But then they have a gun. So this whole problem of
Doesn't exist.
carnivores doesn't exist. Yeah, because you can literally just arm the police with guns. Anything
Yeah.
happens, there you go. Yeah, and like
Bruh.
yeah, it just stopped making sense after a
And
while.
there's a season 2.
Yeah, and just think about this, right? So Legoshi is like he's trying to get with her, and she doesn't like him until he saves her. Okay,
Yeah.
and then she's all like wet and
Obviously.
everything, and she wants him. Yeah,
Oh god.
and this
Good Lord, wow.
this is what happens. Okay, so they're in a hotel together, and you know what's gonna happen next, right?
Yeah.
But before they're about to do anything, she stuffs her head into his jaw.
Why?
Exactly. No reason why. And the reason that she explains is like, oh, it's my natural instinct because I'm a prey.
I wanna get eaten.
I put my head in because like I want to like my natural instinct is to
Yeah.
die. Don't know what kind of natural instinct they're referring to here,
Yeah.
but the story just basically dribbled into shit, where stuff just stop making sense throughout this whole thing. And he's such a beta that doesn't do anything. He confesses like 3 times a few days later. Okay. And the anime, the season 1, right, ends with him confessing 3 times. Then he says something like, oh yeah, I'm going to get stronger. And she says, oh yeah, I will wait. Wait for what? Like, there's no sense in this anime after the first like couple of episodes.
What's he getting stronger for?
Exactly. To fight society or something. Like the bad kind of image that a wolf and a rabbit might have together.
So why would he need to be stronger?
Exactly. It doesn't make sense. And why is she waiting? Like, there's nothing stopping them.
Yo, that has a completely different storyline to what I actually initially, when I first saw the thing on like Netflix.
Yeah, exactly. I was
the
excited
stars
for
and
this.
shit. I thought it was something to do with like an animal pop star group kind of thing, like
so
some kind of musical.
That's another big
anime
problem.
pop star group and shit, but it's a completely different thing.
Exactly. This whole idea of B star.
I thought it was a pop group.
Lewis being the B star, right? Like some guy who's trying to like bridge the gap between carnivores and herbivores and like be some political figure.
Yeah.
It's not really explained well. It's not shown why they're picked, how they're picked, why he's picked particularly. Also, he's kind of like seen as an important figure to everybody in the whole school, to the mayor and everything. He basically goes and helps Legoshi like fight the tigers, but Legoshi doesn't know, right? And then he disappears. But when he disappears, nobody gives a shit. Like even the Haru, who like supposedly loved him, doesn't care that he's gone. Like there's no mention of him again. The students don't care, and he was like literally there are posters of him
I
in the room.
That in the first episode, there's posters of him in this girl's room, and I was like, if you think about a school,
he's like a superstar.
Who would take a picture of like the guy who's head of drama club and put a poster of him in their room?
Exactly. And he disappears. Nothing happens.
I wish we could show you Ramen's face as he listens to this entire thing.
Yeah. And I think the worst thing here, right, is you know the first guy got murdered, like the alpaca?
Yeah.
There's some kind of references to it that maybe it's Legoshi or maybe it's someone else who's done it.
Yeah.
But this is never really found out. And I feel like you had 12 episodes to kind of dive into this a bit more, and that's essentially why I was watching the anime. Like from the first episode, that's what I was interested in. But you never really find out who killed the alpaca.
I just get the feeling they went wrong with the name of the anime to begin with. Beastar sounds like some kind of pop group, anime, kind of fun anime.
Yeah, I mean, it's
what
just,
the hell?
I think out of all of them, this was probably the worst one, and universally,
this is horrible sounding already.
I hope would agree that this was bad, but it was
taking
just
this out my list.
A lot of people liked it.
I don't know why.
I have a feeling it's probably just because the romance part of it.
Well, I mean, people like Zootopia because of that.
Yeah, I think like a lot of the characters are technically cute, right? They're for that cute kind of image, big eyes, you know, whatever you're into, furry shit. I don't know. Maybe the story is what drew people in. But
what story?
There is no storyline. Everything you've said is just random shit that you could jump into a movie.
It's that bad. Like you notice in the first episode how bad it is. It makes no sense. Nothing makes any sense.
There's no need for 16 episodes. Just make it into a 1 hour long shit movie.
But
That's
it was 12 episodes.
Oh, however many
getting
episodes.
A second season.
Like I don't care.
Yeah, I'm just
make a movie out of it and get it over and done with.
This time instead of the lions kidnapping her, it'll be some tigers.
Yeah.
Nah, bro, it's gonna be rabbits.
Or rabbits kidnap him, and then she has to save him from the rabbits. Yeah. It could be.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think like overall, like very disappointed.
She reverse simps him.
Yeah, it just got really corny, very illogical.
It sounds horrible.
It was really bad.
The story just wasn't for me at all. Like I could not enjoy it. There was too many irregularities. And
irregularities in Magic High School.
Yeah, man. Get that point out there.
So yeah, that's
God, wow.
And I'd say like other notable trash anime that I didn't really speak about, but I want to kind of just mention is this Netflix
notable
anime.
mentions?
Which one?
Honorable mentions.
Honorable mentions.
Dishonorable mentions.
Dishonorable mentions, right.
Have you seen Revisions?
No.
All right, it's pretty crap. I'm just going to leave it out there. Probably like a 5 out of 10 at max.
Okay, just
watch the
trailer.
Yo,
that's actually not that bad of a number, bro. That's half out of
It's kind of got some like time like elements to it, and like monsters attacking, and like it's got a bit of sci-fi in it. High school kids, all that kind of stuff. I'd say watch the trailer if you're still interested from watching the trailer. Give it a go, but I feel it was just like another subpar anime.
Okay.
And obviously, I mentioned Japan Sinks
Yeah.
as well.
Is that on
Right.
Netflix?
Yeah, Japan
That's
Sinks is
on
on
Netflix,
Netflix
yeah.
as
Oh,
well.
okay.
The
What's
other
happened
one,
with Netflix releasing? They release normally good anime like Professor B. I like that anime. That was a Netflix.
They had
original.
that cat one.
I think they have a mix.
They had the cat
Some
one.
good,
I
some
haven't
bad.
watched it. Has
What's the
anyone
cat
watched the
one?
cat anime on Netflix?
No,
The one about the cat?
A Whisker Away.
Yeah,
Oh, that
yeah.
looked
Apparently
really
that's meant to
cute.
be good. Yeah,
It looked
apparently
really
I haven't
cute.
seen it, but apparently it's
Like
it's
the
meant to be
trailer,
good.
I was like, yeah, no, you know what? I'm gonna watch this.
Yeah, well, they had a couple
Like it gives the same like vibes as like Kimi no Na wa, Your Name, and then Weathering with
Yeah.
You, that
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah. So I guess yeah, I don't really have any more to talk about. Mine were basically Goblin Slayer and Beastars that I didn't really like.
Yeah, I think for me it was mostly those. Normally, if I don't like an anime, I'm just not gonna sit through it. But I feel like
Yeah.
these ones, I force myself to watch at least part of the whole thing. Normally, if the first episode's bad, I just don't watch it. Or if I know that most people don't like it, I don't watch it. But those were the top ones for me that were so hyped that I forced myself to watch it, and ended up really not liking it.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, no, I don't have any more. I honestly just don't watch
You don't
that
watch
much
it. You don't watch
like bad anime.
Yeah.
I tend to just like I'm very selective, and I try and make as much of a judgment call from like watching the trailer than anything. If the trailer's not like good, then I just probably won't watch it. But if the trailer's good and I watch it and it's bad, then I don't finish it at all. Like I just won't bother finishing it.
Fair enough. Okay, so for today's news segment from Japan, I'll give you the headline and then I'll tell you the story, okay? It's a pretty crazy story.
Right.
You know what? You guys just drop in the comments of whatever platform you're listening to what we should call this segment, because we have no idea.
We tried to rack our brains, but
Top comment
Yeah.
can have the name as long as it's not too.
Yeah, if
Weird.
it's safe
Weird,
for work,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
We'll
try and
make
keep
a
it safe for
decision.
work.
Okay, so the title is Tokyo Schoolboy Assumes Other Boy's Identity for 6 months. Okay.
Bruh.
So it
that
sounds like a
racist?
normal... No, it sounds like a normal identity theft.
normally you'd think that's kind of racist, but
So
What?
I'll give you a bit of backstory, okay? There's a high school in Japan near
Yeah.
Tokyo. It's called Kaisai High School, okay?
Yeah.
And this is one of Tokyo's most respected high schools.
Okay.
And the reason why is because for around 39 years, it's been sending the most students to Tokyo University, which is the most prestigious university in
number
Japan.
This sounds like an anime plot.
trust me,
What's going on?
Honestly, I think this is going to become an anime. Trust me.
Okay.
Okay.
someone's gonna write about
Yeah.
this.
So since it's like one of the best high schools,
Yeah.
its entrance exam is obviously going to be pretty hard to do, right?
Yeah.
So they discovered like the entrance exam was taken by someone else for one of the students.
Okay.
Okay, that's what they thought.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. But it's not that simple. So Kaisai's entrance exam was around February,
Yeah.
beginning of February. And one of the applicants, we're going to call him student A.
Yeah.
Okay. He showed up, he took the test. Obviously, he was very, very good. He passed. And a few days later, they called him for enrollment. And he bought his identification, passed all of it, got himself verified, did all the
Right.
paperwork with his IDs. Okay. Unfortunately, the entrance ceremony was cancelled because of COVID, right? At that
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Okay.
So they, like parents couldn't come to it, people couldn't meet each other.
Yeah.
Everything was online. So student A was doing the online classes.
Yeah.
Okay. So on-campus classes started around June.
Yeah.
So a couple months later. And around July, Kaisai's administration, like their admin department, they noticed they hadn't gotten student A's junior high school academic record for about 6 months.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. So they didn't really know where he's come from.
Yeah, yeah.
So they contacted student A's junior high school for his academic record. But they got told that they've sent the records already to a different school where student A was currently attending.
Okay.
Okay. So basically what had happened and what they found out is student A, he did the entrance exam for Kaisai.
Yeah.
He enrolled himself
Yeah.
for Kaisai,
Yeah.
but he got another student B,
Yeah.
to attend the high school for him.
Why?
So is student A some kind of rich kid?
Maybe,
like stupid
probably,
rich kid.
Probably.
But why? Why would he do that?
Yeah. So he got student B to attend like in person and
Yeah.
online classes. So people were just asking like, why has this happened?
Yo, let me tell you, this straight up feels like the plot line for Three Idiots. Like the rich guy like sends the smart kid who used to work at his house.
But it's not even that. It just
like under
it
his
just
name.
sounds like he just made some random kid go to the school because he decided he didn't want to go.
Yeah. So here's the weird thing, right? Student A went to another school and he was just studying there. Like he was doing another like whole high school kind of diploma
But why?
at another school. So two questions were kind of raised, like why is student B kind of taking his place?
Yeah.
Right.
And why is student A going to another
doesn't student
area?
B need to go to school?
Yeah, student B just needs to still go to school,
he's
right?
doing like a whole diploma for someone else. Like he's not even going to get that diploma. He's under the other person's name.
That's
student
straight.
A's.
That's
Yo,
crazy.
student A got that
Yeah.
that idea. From
I think that
Three
I think the
Idiots, I'm
crazy thing
telling
is,
you.
right? Did you know in Japan, education is only compulsory until middle school,
Yeah.
right? And high school you have to pay for.
That's why
So-
they make such a big deal about it.
Yeah, like changing, getting the high school,
Yeah.
etc. So this guy was paying for 2 high schools at the same time.
Well, his
What?
parents were
What?
paying for two.
Yeah,
high
his,
schools at
his
the
parents were
same
paying,
time.
or somehow he was paying.
But how?
Right.
Like, what parents are like? Oh yeah, we'll pay for you to go to 2 schools.
Wait, is the
Yeah, like, I don't think the parents knew. That's
is
They
the other
definitely
school
didn't
like
know.
more prestigious? Oh, right. That's the other school is the one that sends kids to Tokyo
the
University.
one that
No.
the one that he missed out on going on, the one that he
So
basically
he could have gone to the more
Yeah.
prestigious one, but he's decided to go
maybe
to some other
maybe
one.
what it
Another
is like he's probably not smart, like
But he was
smart enough.
to do the
yeah
exam.
he did the exam.
So
He did the
was smart
exam.
enough to get
Ah.
in.
Yeah, exactly.
So it just doesn't make sense.
Maybe B is smarter, like a lot smarter.
But then
and
why would he
would
go?
guarantee
But
his
if he
place
was-
into
if-
Tokyo?
But if he was that much smarter, why wouldn't he just do his own
Potentially.
diploma?
B's,
Yeah.
B's getting paid though. It doesn't matter.
So,
Yeah,
so
you don't know that B's getting paid.
B's
No one
most
knows.
likely getting
we don't
paid for
actually
it.
know. We don't actually know what happened there. But there are a few kind of like popular reasons of why this happened, right? Is student A didn't want to attend Kaisai's school because of its like rigorous curriculum. Apparently it's very, very strict and
Okay.
very hard. And he
There you
wanted
go.
to enjoy like a different high school.
There you go.
Right?
Okay.
Secondly, Kaisai is an all boys school. So potentially he wanted a bit
So he was
more
a bit of a
flair in his
simp.
life.
He was a
literally
little-
went to another
he was a
high
little
school to
hentai, yeah.
simp.
He was a little
You never
pervy
know.
boy.
And I think realistically, this is probably the most real answer. Is he just wanted like to please his parents, like to make sure that they knew he got into the high school
okay.
that they wanted him to get
Even though
into.
he wanted to actually
Go
go to
somewhere
this other
else.
place, probably
Yeah.
to simp.
So I think he's just like a really really rich kid, like from a
Yeah.
rich
Or he's
background, and his
definitely
parents.
clever as well.
And his parents,
Well, he
yeah,
must
like
be
he's
smart
a
because
rich,
he got
he's
into
a
this.
smart kid, right?
Yeah.
And I think he got in, and I think he just honestly told his parents, like, look, I don't want to go there, but if I go there and I get someone else to replace me, and then that person
Bro,
get
what
into
type of
like
So
parents?
if
Tokyo.
my parents, if
Bro,
my parents heard that,
there's
they're just like,
weird
"Smack me,
parents
dude."
out there, man. There's weird, like rich.
Okay,
when
listen.
you're from a rich family,
Mum,
rich families
Dad.
do anything for anything.
Mum, Dad, forget going to Tokyo University. Listen, I'll make random kid go while I go to this other school simp. Like,
Rich
I want to go to
parents,
school with some girls.
rich families are weird like that, man. Like, whenever have you seen a normal rich family? Ever. I don't think I've ever seen a normal rich, ultra rich family that can afford like this kind of madness to
Dunno.
send their kids to 2 different high schools
No idea, man.
under the same like
To
name
be
and
fair,
shit
we
like
don't know the
that.
price. What if like high school for the whole year is $1,000?
Yeah,
like,
to be honest,
some
we don't
people
know the
could afford
price.
$2,000 worth of school.
Because I don't think it'd be that expensive. Because like
Can't
it is
possibly
high
be
A lot of
school.
people
like-
go
it's
high
different.
school in
Yeah, most
in-
people
in
go, so
Tokyo
that- so it
or
must
in Japan
be-
in general.
So it must be affordable. It must not be like crazy expensive. I don't know.
Hmm.
There's a lot of unknowns here, but it just seems so like such a weird story.
Yeah.
That's
And,
just my theory, I guess.
So the
rich
ending
family
here, right? Student A, he was expelled from Kaisai High School.
Yeah, well, obviously.
And like
they enroll
it's
student B?
funny. It's funny because like he got expelled from a school he never went to.
But what
So
about
he-
student B?
Student B was barred from entering the campus grounds for Kaisai.
Peak. Well,
yeah,
I mean,
so it's a guy who
it's a bit
like wasn't even enrolled there. Like he didn't exist, but he's gotten barred.
Well,
But he was
did the online
studying.
classes.
Yeah, he was
Someone
studying.
enroll my man in the online
Yeah.
school.
So I feel like this is a potential like anime in the works. Like something's gonna
yo,
happen.
or maybe what it is, right? Student B is like good friends with student A. Student B just wasn't smart enough to get into Kaisai. Student A didn't want to go there. So student B was like, you know what? I'll pay you to do the like the entrance exam, get me in, and then my parents
They
will
would have
pay.
faked the name or something. Like
Yeah.
there's
My
so many
parents
other
will pay
ways.
for like all that stuff. Probably they just didn't have enough brain cells to think of that,
If
right?
my man can get into the
I don't
top
think-
school in Tokyo.
I don't think B had enough brain cells and A didn't give a shit enough.
Yeah.
his cells
A was
weren't
just
at
like-
work.
A was
Yeah.
just like, yeah, you know what? I'm just gonna do the entrance exam.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, whatever. Here you go.
Yeah,
Get
I
in
think-
and get out of my life.
Yeah, whatever happened in the story is pretty crazy. But that is the end of today's news
That
story.
is actually quite
And
funny.
if you think you know why student A did this,
Please let us know.
yeah, contact us. You can contact us on our Gmail or our Twitter or Instagram as well.
Yeah, like that's some wild ass.
Look, I'll tell you
stories.
that the plot line for this real life event is the same as the plot line for Beastars. no plot line,
There's
nothing
no
makes sense.
real goal
Everybody
to the
kidnapped by
end
something.
story.
One of them was a bunny. Like
Yeah, there's no real goal to the end story. There's nothing that the story is going towards. It's just like flying around everywhere. But it is a pretty interesting story. But yeah, I guess that's it for today's episode. Thank you for listening. This has been Anime Real Talk, and you can find us on Spotify, Apple Music, and pretty much everywhere else.
Or you can message us on our social media accounts. Our Gmail is @animerealtalk@gmail.com. You can catch us on Twitter at @animerealtalk or on Instagram @animerealtalkpodcast.
Thank you for listening, and we'll be back next week, same time on Wednesday.
Thank you.
Bye.
See ya.